statement.
Sure. Well, kind of a cool deal. On Sunday, I'm standing outside my office, got that little patio area outside my office, and I'm on the phone with another FBS head coach, just talking ball, doing what we do, and all of a sudden a hawk swoops down, and it lands right in the corner of those south stands right there, just right in that very corner, probably 10 yards away from me at tops. And pretty quickly I noticed that he's got a white bird in his paws. And he proceeded to sit there and just have lunch or maybe early dinner right in front of me there. Feathers everywhere, just blowing all over the place. And I thought, here we are. This guy's just, I'm watching him eat his lunch while I'm on the phone talking football. So you never know what's going to happen. This is, I felt like it was a scene out of Lorne Greene's New Wilderness or something, for those of you that remember that show. So that was a pretty interesting way for me to start my game week. And there's still feathers everywhere. So if folks are coming to the game and they're over here, I guess, what is this side over here? The west side? The west side? They're in the west side and they see some poor feathers floating around and some white bird that didn't make it past Sunday. So, but good to be back. Good to be in game week. Got a really good team coming in here. Really impressive to watch. And I've been doing this a long time. You know, for teams to be, you know, what you would consider really championship contenders, they've got to be able to play complementary football, and they've got to be good in all three phases, and that's exactly what this Toledo team is. This past week, they started off extremely fast, jumped all over Miami, a big punt return and a block punt, and before you know it, it was a 14-3 game, and Miami was not able to recover from that. They've started fast every week, so you look at their first quarter numbers, they're outscoring opponents 49-10. And then you look at the halftime scores, I believe it's 107-39. So this is a veteran team. This is a team that has played under the same coaching staff. They're very cohesive. As I mentioned, very complementary in all three phases, and they know how to win. They handled Miami. They handled Mississippi State. Probably by their standards, they were a little bit sloppy against UMass, but still played well enough to win that game. And even in their loss down at Western Kentucky, they had 4 turnovers. So most teams, if you have 4 turnovers, it's not going to be a fun afternoon. And these guys were still in a very close game with a good Western Kentucky team. So this is a team that's been built well and coached well. Offensively, their quarterback is a big, strong guy. He's a fiery leader. He's an accurate thrower. He handles himself like a veteran. I know they had another good quarterback there in the past, but this kid's built like a tight end. And when he runs, he runs angry. And he will run you over. He's definitely an above-average runner. Really well coached, too. Their offensive coordinator, Robert Weiner, is the former head coach at Plant High School in Tampa, won state championships in Florida. Just a brilliant guy, a great human being, a great mentor, a great quarterback coach, one of those high school coaches that I was very happy to see move into the college ranks because I think he really deserved it, and he does a great job mentoring the quarterbacks there. And again, this guy can make all the throws. You watch the Miami game, he's throwing the field outs. You know, that's typically a throw that not every quarterback can make. The timing of it, the accuracy of it, the velocity of it, and it's happening. The wide receivers separate really well against man coverage. They block well on the perimeter. Number 1, Newton. I don't know if he goes by Juice, but he's got a lot of juice. And number 2, Vandross. Those guys have shown the ability to make a lot of 50-50 plays. They're also really good at finding holes in the zone. They do a good job getting yards after contact. And again, the quarterback does a really nice job of distributing the ball where it's supposed to go. They're really solid in the run game too. They'll run the zone. They'll run some zone read. They like the pin and pull, which is a man scheme, outside type play, gap scheme. Zero Stewart is a very, very capable back, very shifty. He also does a really nice job catching the ball out of the backfield. It's a big, good-looking O-line. Their tackles are younger guys, but they're gigantic, pretty athletic group on the inside. And their tight end, who's actually an Indiana kid. It's interesting. They've got a few Indiana kids playing for them. Torres is a very versatile, I think, a pro prospect, top type tight end. Defensively, very, very stout, very physical unit. Not overly complicated. They're a 4-down team, a 4-2-5 configuration. They'll mix in 2 high and 1 high, even sometimes 3 high looks. It's a mix of zone and man coverages that you're going to get, some pressure, but they're really relying on their front 4 to cause a bunch of havoc and cancel a bunch of gaps, and those guys can do it. The 2 interior D tackles are over 300 pounds and athletic. The D ends are long and rangy. They're really good pass rushers. You get to 3rd and medium, 3rd and long, and they are getting up the field and have nice counter moves inside. They'll do some different things on 3rd down to create some one-on-one matchups up front. And get to the passer without bringing too much pressure. Veteran group of linebackers, very, very physical group, experienced group of linebackers. I think their safeties are really excellent tacklers. They remind me a lot of Northern Illinois safeties on film. 25, Maxon Hook. He stands out when he's coming down in the box. He will front you up and get you on the ground. I don't know if he's a captain, but that'd be perfect, right? Captain Hook. Corners cover well, so not many weaknesses. This is a defense that's allowing 86 yards a game rushing. So this is a good group, and you know, obviously we've got our work cut out for us offensively. We got to get better. I'm hoping these guys turn the film on Sunday and said maybe we can go take a few days off, maybe head over to Put-in Bay and relax for a few days, and then get on the bus and come over here on Saturday to play us. But it's going to be a challenge. Special teams. So Toledo special teams, we get these analytics reports every week, and they are the 2nd-ranked special teams unit. That's not in the Mid-American Conference. That's in the country, and that's well-earned, well-deserved. They are extremely productive. You could argue, as good as Toledo's offense and defense are, that their special teams might be even more effective. This year, just this past week, I mentioned the punt return and the block punt against Miami. They've had a kickoff return for a touchdown against UMass. They've had several other really productive returns, and they're very fundamentally sound. They're very multiple. They're very aggressive. They present some challenges from a scheme standpoint, and they have very, very good personnel. So this is going to be a very big challenge for us from a special teams standpoint. And their coordinator, Stanton Weber, is a guy I know very well. I think he's an outstanding coach. I think he's got a really, really bright future ahead of him. His mom is a great teacher. You know, if you've ever been around like a great teacher, just a teacher that is so passionate about her craft and goes into work every day, making her students better in creative ways. And she raised a couple really great sons, and so you can see why Stanton is as fine of a coach as he is, and has as bright of a future ahead. But Stewart, who I mentioned already, he's averaging 39 yards per kickoff return. Newton is the off returner. So pick your poison. You're going to hit it to either one of those guys, and trouble awaits. And then 33, Bryson Hammer is averaging almost 19 yards per punt return. And I mentioned the one that he had against Miami the other day. He's had several big ones. So big challenge for us from a special teams standpoint as well. So we're excited to get going again. Excited. We've got 7 upcoming MAC contests here, and we're looking forward to the challenge. We certainly didn't get any easy games out of the gate here with our Mid-American Conference schedule. We got in Northern in the first one, we got Toledo in the second, and then whoever we play after that, it's like, you know, murderer's row of blue blood programs in the MAC that we've got the next several weeks. So, but our guys are excited. We had a really good practice today. Excited to get back out on the field, and felt like we got a little bit better today with good energy and a lot of positivity. So, you know, we need the whole week to get ready, but we're excited about the challenge that awaits.
Pete, you know, after a 47-3 loss at UConn, how have you seen this team reset and prepare to move forward in that MAC scheduling? Challenging, like you said.
Yeah, I really don't have a whole lot to say other than we just do what we do. You know, we are who we are, and don't really think we're going to blink.
Does a game against a team like Toledo that most of your guys know is always one of the class programs in your conference, do you sense any different focus or different, like, oh, we're playing Toledo this week?
Yeah, if that's the case, I haven't noticed. I think we're just excited to play again, coming off the bye, and obviously not our best performance the last time we played. Our guys are prideful and passionate and very close-knit, and they know they've got a really good opponent coming in that we've got to play really well in all 3 phases to put ourselves in position to have a chance to win it. But I'd like to think that it doesn't matter who we play. We know we've got 7 opportunities coming up. Yes, you know, we're starting off with a perennial favorite, championship contender, you know, blue blood program, which is great, and great to be back here at home. But I'd like to think we'd be just as fired up to play anybody.
How much did you use the bye week to assess your team over the first 5 weeks, and maybe what areas do you think you can improve at to find more?
Plenty of areas to improve. A lot. And yes, we assessed it all. So we're a work in progress. You know, that's who we are. We're you know, our record may be solid, and we may have some good wins under our belt, but we are very much a work in progress, and you know, we have a lot of work to do here, a lot of work to do on all fronts, And I think if you asked any of our staff, right down to our administrative assistant or our director of player personnel or the assistant equipment manager, I think they would tell you that I have been had my thumb on everything the last week or so, and been pushing a lot of buttons. And it's not so much because of the disappointment of how we played at UConn. It's just that that's where we are as a program. We have a lot of things to do on all fronts to make ourselves better and to put ourselves in position to be successful. So, you know, win or lose, that doesn't change. That's where we're at. And when you have a bye week, you have a little bit more time to take a deep breath and assess some of those things and point some of those things out, and even myself, you know, get involved in some things that maybe during a normal game week I wouldn't have an opportunity to do.
Maybe specifically the passing game. You've had some good performances in your wins. What hasn't been there in the games where the passing game hasn't been as good?
Yeah, well, I think the simplest thing is just making the plays that come to you. There's a big drop in the UConn game that jumps out to me where we could have flipped the field position in the first quarter and seized the momentum and failed to do that. So sometimes it's not anything special other than just making the basic plays that come to you. But we definitely have to keep evolving, and I give our offensive coaches a lot of credit. They've been working tirelessly to look for every nook and cranny. What player can we utilize here, and what can we do different schematically, and what can we do that plays to the strengths of the group that we have right now, because the group that we have right now is a good bunch of kids, and they're working hard. They may not be perfect, and they may not be everything that you'd like them to be from a skill or talent standpoint, but they're going to work hard at whatever we ask them to do and try to be the best versions of themselves. So we've got to put them in the best possible position to be successful in the passing game and the running game. So that's not always easy. It's not always a simple fix, but you keep working at it and you keep trying to find solutions to it.
What are some of those areas there where you say, we've got to put ourselves in better position to be successful?
Yeah, well, we're not running the ball well enough. We're not throwing the ball well enough. We're not staying on the field long enough. We're not converting enough third downs, which means you have a better chance to stay on the field longer. We're not connecting on enough explosive plays. Shall I continue?
Sure.
So I've got to be careful not to say anything too controversial, but we have a long list of things to fix and address. I would say the best thing we're doing offensively right now is not turning the ball over. Our guys are doing a good job taking care of the football, and that's given us a chance to hang around. And that needs to certainly continue.
Talked about having your finger kind of on the button, maybe pushing some buttons this past week.
I'm good at that.
Okay. Is that something you were maybe doing 5 to 6 weeks ago, or maybe felt out this
always
group a little bit and seen how they react to what
Yeah, no, I'm a royal pain in the rear end. So I don't change a whole lot, So I think I told you guys the day after the Northern Illinois win, I was in here forgetting about it, and let's move on, and we got a lot of work to do. So. No, I'm not going to change who I am because of, the results of one game or something like that. I guess my point was more during the bye week, you have a little bit more time to look at some things that, during a game week, there's just not enough hours in the day, right? And so it's good to have a true bye week where you can do a little bit more recruiting and you can do a little bit more in-house work and guys can get rehabbed and you can look at your self-scout in a little bit more detail and some things of that nature. So, but no, I mean, you don't have to worry about me being a whole lot different. Like I'm going to go hard until I go fishing. So that's just kind of how I am.
Pete, how important has not just the defensive line, but maybe specifically your defensive tackle group been to allowing Sean and Red to put up the kind of numbers that they put up?
Yeah, so we're obviously missing George in there right now, and he had a successful surgery, and he's been very positive and excited to get him back for next season. But in the meantime, it's sort of a committee in there of guys. We didn't play great at D tackle in our last game. There were some gaps that we lost leverage in, and some plays we didn't make, some fits that weren't great. But the nature of our defense is that we do a lot of movement up front, and we're very adamant about the technique we use and how those guys are supposed to fit into the defense, and with the hope of freeing up some of those linebackers so that you get, or a safety to get an extra hitter and cancel some gaps with your D line to keep those guys free. So Sean and Red get it. They're very unselfish players, but they know that the way the defense is structured, a lot's going to fall on them to make a lot of plays, and we didn't always do that last week. We looked tired. We've been playing too many snaps. We've been averaging 80 snaps a game on defense, and that's way too many. So everything's got to fit together. You've got to be able to flip the field on special teams from a field position standpoint so that your defense has long fields. Your offense needs to stay out there on the field longer by getting first downs and eventually scoring points. And if you do those things, that brings those numbers down in terms of how the defense, how many reps they're playing, and how fresh they're going to be. So we looked a little tired in that fifth game, and it's good to have that bye week for these guys to get their legs back underneath them. But we've got to do a better job here starting this week against Toledo and every week after that of doing a better job on offense and special teams so that the defense is not shouldering an disproportionate amount, is that the right word, of the weight here.
Is there a target number, average number of snaps you want your defense by or zone, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, I think closer to 70 would be great. I think if that offensive number comes up, then the defensive number will go down, and even just 10 plays a game would go a long way. I think with the nature of offenses now and the tempos that you see, and Toledo will certainly use some tempo. They like to use it after an explosive play, or if they get into a third and short or a fourth and short, they'll line up and go fast, and a lot of teams do that. That's not unusual or unique. So I think the nature of college offense 101 right now is that people are running more plays than they used to run. Back in the day, it was like Rolly Massimino, Villanova basketball, and slow it down as much as you can, and that was my favorite team growing up. I went to Georgetown. Who could have predicted that? But Villanova would just slow it down to a crawl, right? And this was before the shot clock, and they'd try to win a game 48 to 45, and the nature of everything now is just go fast, go fast, go fast. And so the number of plays, even though they've tried to shorten the game by some of the things we've done with the clock, offenses are still going pretty fast with tempo.
Gunnar Gray finished the game last week at quarterback. This game he played. Is there any contemplation into giving him a more expanded opportunity?
He's taken the 2 reps of practice, and he did some good things in the game. He also threw an interception in the game, not to point out the negatives, but no, it's constant competition, and but CJ's our starter, and if the situation presents itself that we think it's going to help us win the game, to put Gunnar in there or Jack in there, we'll certainly do that. At that point in the UConn game, we felt like it would be best to get him out there and get him some meaningful work.
Being that it seemed like a close competition in preseason, does that factor in at all in midseason when you think back and think, oh, we might want to see what this guy can do? Yeah,
you're always promoting competition. You never want anybody getting comfortable or too comfortable, and I think any real competitor never gets into that mode anyway. They're always going to come out and push themselves, and any good backup is going to come out every day thinking like the starter and ready to go, and that's what you want all your guys to do. So I realize that's the most high-profile position, and until we're playing at an extremely high level at that position, you guys have every right to question who we're playing and why we're playing them. But right now, it's status quo.
I'm sure you watched a lot of film over the bye week. Did you watch any new films?
I didn't. I actually I got on the plane and for whatever reason couldn't download Netflix. I couldn't I couldn't download anything. So what a shame. But I did get to see TCU play Houston, and that was really special because my son's a senior there now, and he's worked closely with the program for 4 years, and I haven't been there since I took them there to see the school during COVID, and just the football gods cooperated, the stars aligned that they had a Friday night game at home during our bye week. So was able to get down there and spend a little time around TCU's program, which was great. I mean, fabulous game day atmosphere, just first class people, just did everything right. I mean, it was just to sit there. I don't know the last time. I think the last time I was actually a fan in the stands was at the Liberty Bowl. I think I watched Kansas State play Navy with my son AJ and my father-in-law. This was when we were at Memphis, and so to actually go to another college game and to see how a first-class program operates, and just everything, the place was pristine, and the fan experience was fabulous. And you know, you keep learning. You keep learning. I was texting our folks back here throughout the game, hey, they just did this, they just did that. After the game, you know, in the airport Saturday morning, flying back, hey, here's one more thought from the TCU game. So there's always things to learn, and whether you're talking about our offense, or whether you're talking about our game day atmosphere, or you're talking about just how we operate our program, like, everything, in my opinion, right now is a work in progress, and we have a long way to go, and we need to keep pushing to make it better.
Coach, just switching gears, UB Athletics is partnering with Helinski's Hope this week for their Mental Health Awareness Week.
Yeah.
How do you incorporate mental health strategies, or how do you place an importance on mental health within your program?
Yeah, I think the key word that you mentioned is awareness. And, you know, growing up when I did, we didn't talk about mental health a whole lot. You just kind of did what you did. And you know, some of the stories of the things we did back then, you know, now you just scratch your head at it. And I think we're so much more aware of the things that affect people that maybe they can control and they can't control. And I think we talk so much more openly about these things now, and have more resources and more available access to those resources. I wouldn't have even known in college what resources to use if a problem occurred. So I just think our awareness is so much better, and our ability to communicate about these things, and then to take the right steps to help people that need help. And that's ultimately what we want to be for our student athletes, is we want to be a great resource for them. We want to see them grow and develop on and off the field to become the best they can be. Sometimes things outside of their control might affect them, and if we can be a good resource for them, and or get them to people that are an even better resource, that are well trained to help in those areas. We not only have a responsibility to do that, but I think we're just so much more aware of the need to do that. Okay.
Thanks, Coach.